English is not just the language of the UK, the US, Canada, or Australia. It is the international language. I mean, look, Cristiano Ronaldo speaks English.
What I do for football, and for me it's the most important in football is the fans.
Shah Rukh Khan speaks English.
Mine got to be chosen to be storytelling. You really don't have a plan in your head.
Steven speaks English.
In our previous lesson, we explored various weapons from the long-range slipper to the short.
And so does Adele.
The thing is, I was in her dressing room and I was like, there was only a little curtain separating us.
Now, if you want to understand other people and want to communicate effectively, then you must understand different accents. That is what we're going to check now. I have designed a test for you with 10 accents. I will show you a gapped text and I will play the audio. You should listen and fill out the gaps. It's gonna be fun. Now remember, I won't be playing the audio files twice because the video will get too long. So if you need to listen again, just rewind the video, play again, listen carefully, and then fill out the gaps. And also if you need time, you can just pause, go back, play. You can do whatever you want as long as you complete the gaps. And now let's start. The first 4 accents I have for you are native English speakers. Let's go to Northern England.
When I get a day off, I like to go up into the Yorkshire Dales. These are sort of hills about 20 miles from where I live. And I'll walk through the day. I'll set off while it's still dark and walk for about 8 hours. And at the end of that, finish up in a village somewhere and have a nice meal.
So, how was it? It was quite easy, right? Now, Northern England accent has some subtle differences compared to the British accent. Let's check the answers in 3, 2, 1. Did you get all of them right? Now, let me explain something here. The Northern English accent usually does not say the I sound and instead says ah, something like car, ah. So instead of I, you hear ah. For example, when I get, not I get. Or instead of I like to go, you can hear I like, and not I like, but I like. Or instead of where I live, what did you hear? Where I live, not I, but ah. Now, the next thing that was very interesting here was how native speakers link words and phrases together. And this is something that students often struggle with because it makes it hard to understand. For example, about 8 hours. About 8 hours. 3 different words. But you do not usually hear about 8 hours. Instead, you heard this.
And walk for about 8 hours.
About Tate. So you hear the word Tate because they're linked together. Tate, about Tate, about Tate, about Tate. And 8 hours would become 8 towers. You hear the word tower. So Tate Tower, about 8 towers, about 8 hours. You see, that's more difficult. Or another example of how these words are linked together in a sentence. Finish up in a village. Finish up in. Up in. Up in. Up in. Up in. You hear the word pin. Pin a village. Finish up in a village. Finish up in a village. Those are the things that usually make it difficult to understand native speakers. A lot of the students think it is difficult to understand native speakers because they speak fast. But that's not the case. They do not necessarily speak fast all the time, but what happens is pronunciation, intonation, word stress, sentence stress, and a lot of the times linking words together in a sentence can make it difficult for people to understand native speakers. And now, enough with this one. Let's go to number 2. We're going to Scotland and we're going to listen to the beautiful Scottish accent.
I live in the country and I'm quite lucky because where I live is sort of on the top of a range of low, flat hills, so it's quite windy. On good days, I like to take my children out and we go and fly kites. The children have got little kites because obviously if it's too windy and with a big kite, it'd be really too much for them. They couldn't control it. But they thoroughly enjoy being out just in the fresh air.
Let's see how you did in 3, 2, 1. Now, you know that in British accent, you do not pronounce the R sound. You don't say R. You don't say water. You don't say sort of. You say sort of. Sort, not sort. However, in Scottish accent, they pronounce the R. For example, sort of. Listen.
Sort of on the top of.
Or another one. For them.
Too much for them.
Or fresh air.
In the fresh air.
You see how Scottish people pronounce the R as opposed to the standard British accent? Now, I want you to pay attention to this part. We go and fly. Did you hear we go and fly? Listen again.
We go and fly kites.
No, we go and fly. We go and fly. Go and fly. Instead of and, you just hear a sound. This is called reduction. This is another reason why when native speakers speak, you find it difficult to understand them. So not only do they have different accents, or they link words together, or they have different intonations and word stress and sentence stress and everything, but there may be cases of reduction, like in this case. Instead of and, you just hear, we go and fly. All right, guys, great job. Let's move on to the third place. We're going to Wales, and we're going to listen to the Welsh accent.
In my spare time, I really like visiting gardens, usually the gardens of big houses. And at every time of the year, there's something different to see. The spring, of course, is the best time, when everything's coming into bud, and then later in the summer into full flower. It's really wonderful. And even when it's raining, you can still get great pleasure visiting gardens.
That was easy, right? Look at this. 3, 2, 1. That was a beautiful pronunciation of the word garden. Now you see, it's not pronounced garden. It's pronounced garden, garden. Listen.
Gardens.
And there were two words here, bud and flower. Now, what is a bud? A plant, before giving flowers, first gives something very small, which is a bud, and then that bud later turns into a flower. All right, let's go on to the next place, which is Northern Ireland, and we're going to listen to Irish accent.
Usually because I'm working during the week and sometimes on a Saturday as well. The only day off that I have would be a Sunday. And on Sunday, we like to get up early, make a big breakfast, and if the weather's good, I take my kids for a long walk in the country. We go off with our little fishing rods and sometimes go down to the local stream with a net and try and catch a few tiddlers or something like that.
Let's see how you did. 3, 2, 1. That was a very particular and very interesting accent. Now, something that stands out when listening to the Irish accent is intonation. The intonation of the Irish accent is different than the standard British or American accent. For example, do you remember this part? Normally, a British person would say, would be a Sunday. An American person would say, would be a Sunday. But in the Irish accent, this is what you heard, would be a Sunday. Would be a Sunday. You see, that's a rise-fall intonation. The intonation here is different. Or another example was this. So we had Sunday, and we also had
country.
Country. You see, Sunday, country. There's a fall-rise intonation. Sunday, country. And there were a few words here that I would like to talk about. One of them is fishing rod, which is something you use in order to go fishing and catch a fish. Stream is a natural flow of water. It's something like a river, but it's not exactly a river. It's usually found in mountains and valleys. It's a narrow stream of water, a narrow flow of water. And you know what a net is, which is used in order to catch fish. And also, tiddlers are very small fish. All right, so far we've covered 4 native English accents. Now, these were native speakers. They were speaking their mother tongue, and they did not have grammar mistakes, vocabulary mistakes, or pronunciation mistakes. They just had different accents. However, now we're going to listen to 5 speakers who are non-native speakers of English. Now, it's usually more challenging to understand these people because they are not native speakers and they do not have correct pronunciation and they may make grammar and vocabulary mistakes. But let's give it a try. The first one is Portuguese accent. Who can be a good Portuguese person who can speak English? Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's listen.
So happy. It's that kind of moments that you never expect. To do it 200 caps, for me it's an unbelievable achievement. To be in a World Guinness it's amazing. And of course, to score the winning goal, it's even more special. So I have to say thank you to the stadium, to Iceland, the people, the fans, the stadium, to do it, this kind of party for me.
How was it? Well, he was talking pretty slowly, so it was easy to understand and follow. However, he made a few pronunciation mistakes that made it difficult to understand. For example, the first time I listened to this, I could not understand the 200 cups because he says something like caps. And I was like, why is he talking about 200 caps? But no, he was talking about 200 cups. And he also made a mistake here when he said to do a party. We usually hold a party. To hold a party, to organize a party, but not to do a party. I mean, it's totally fine to make these mistakes here because he's a non-native speaker. It's fine. As long as we can understand him, that's good. Moving on to the next place. We're going to go to India and we're going to listen to Shah Rukh Khan.
Actually, when you start your journey in any profession, mine got to be chosen to be storytelling. You really don't have a plan in your head. I'll be honest and very candid because I'm genuinely thrilled that Faye is speaking with me, and I would not try to put on any of the superstar intellect and convolute my answers. I'll keep it very simple, that I had no idea what story I want to tell.
How was it? Well, it wasn't a very thick Indian accent. It could be thicker and more difficult to understand, but this was good. Let's see if you got them right. 3, 2, 1. But I tell you what, he used very interesting vocabulary. Candid, very interesting adjective. What does it mean? It means honest and telling the truth. I'll be very candid with you. Genuinely. What does that mean? It means in an honest way. You can say sincerely, genuinely, honestly. And finally, convolute. Convolute means to make something complex or difficult to understand. All right, next place we're going to go is China. And we're going to listen to the founder of Alibaba, who is Jack Ma. Let's go.
And our philosophy is that we want to be an ecosystem. Our philosophy is to empower others to sell, empower others to service, empower making sure the other people are more powerful than us. Making sure with our technology, our innovation, our partners, our 10 million small business sellers, they can compete with Microsoft, IBM.
How was that? Well, he was a very good speaker of English, I give you that. He was speaking clearly, but as he was saying some of the words, you could easily understand that it is becoming more and more challenging. Let's see if you got them right in 3, 2, 1. I particularly liked the way he said technology. He did not complete the word. Instead of technology, you could easily understand that he stopped at Y. Technology, instead of technology. That was quite challenging. And also the word partners. I had a hard time understanding what he was saying. Partners, that was a bit difficult and challenging, but it was good overall. Now, let's go to another European place. Poland. Who's a Polish football player who can speak English? Oh, Robert Lewandowski. Let's listen to what he's about to say.
I was born in Warsaw, but I'm growing up in the small city next to Warsaw, like 30 kilometers from Warsaw. But this is my city. My whole family live here, all friends live here, and all the time when I come back to Warsaw, I feel very good also because, if you are in your city 4, 5, 6 times in the year, it's not too much.
Let's see if you got them right in 3, 2, 1. As you could easily understand, his English was not very fluent, so it was at time a bit challenging trying to understand what he was trying to say. However, he did a very good job at getting the message across. It was easy to understand what he was talking about. A bit challenging, but overall, it was okay. In particular, did you notice how he said this word? Listen again.
My whole family live.
So instead of whole, with the sound of H, whole, my whole family, he said all, my whole family. These are little things and details that make it difficult to understand, but in some languages, generally people struggle with certain things like that. For example, in Italy, people cannot say the H word, and instead of whole, they would say all, like Polish people. Or for example, in India, the difference between V and W is usually very difficult for students to get. V, like vase, wind. Or if you want to say very windy. If you are an Indian student, try to say very windy, 3 times, very windy. You see, These are little things that people from different parts of the world usually struggle with. Alright, enough. Let's go to another place. Japan. Are you ready to listen to Japanese English? Let's go.
I am 32 years old and I have a sister who is 28 and I have older brother 34 and my sister is now married and lives in America and my brother is a lawyer. And I am married myself, and my wife is from Germany, and we are living happily together.
Now, I tell you what, this was quite easy to understand. You could hear the Japanese accent, but he was a very good speaker of English. And here are the answers in 3, 2, 1. How did you do? Overall, I think this test has been very easy, right? I think you guys have very high scores. How can I make it very challenging for the last one, the last one? I want to give you a real challenge, something that you would struggle with a lot. But I have an idea. When we talk about the British accent, we have a standard accent in mind. However, you need to know that in the UK, there are many different accents, as we saw at the beginning. But it's not just the UK. If you make it smaller and go to one city, for example, London, different boroughs of London, different parts of the city of London, people have different accents. For example, there is a famous accent called Cockney, and the person who speaks with a London Cockney accent is Adele. Well, are you ready? This is the ultimate challenge. Let's go.
Well, I think since I last was on Radio 1, I got to meet Beyonce a couple of times, which the first time I really held it together. I was like, thanks for having me to show B, you know, rare. The thing is, I was in her dressing room and I was like, there was only a little curtain separating us while she was having her makeup done, and I started like going, I don't think I can do this, and she would have heard it all. And then she popped out, so I put on a brave face, but the second time I went out on a balcony and got on my hands and knees and cried.
Oh my God. How was it? I tell you what, I struggle with this. I cannot understand what she's saying without subtitles. That's really difficult to understand. And not just because she speaks really fast, but because of the accent is so particular. But here's what she said. 3, 2, 1. Curtain, makeup, popped out, balcony, cried. Very easy now, but when you listen to her, it's so difficult to understand. Let's listen again with the subtitles.
The thing is, I was in her dressing room and I was like, there was only a little curtain separating us while she was having her makeup done, and I started like going, I don't think I can do this, and she would have heard it all. And then she popped out, so
Yeah, a bit easier, but still very difficult, right? Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Let me know in the comments how many of these 10 accents you understood completely and with which ones you struggled the most. Also, if you want to take a serious step to improve your English, you can join the POC English Academy. In this academy, you will have lessons of grammar and vocabulary from me. You will have quizzes on grammar, vocabulary, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You can speak with AI, write, and get real-time feedback. And you can join our English Academy, where we will have weekly live lessons and where you can connect with other students. And the good thing is you can start this for free and try it before you pay. How? Simply click on the link above my head, go to my website and click Start Free. It's a very easy process. Go ahead, give it a try. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Bye.